Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're doing top 5 games of 2020. This is my personal top 5, so don't take this as an absolute fact. I missed a few games that I should have played this year, especially The Last of Us Part 2 and Doom Eternal, which could have made this list. I just haven't gotten around to playing them yet. So let's start off. Number 5, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. In a year full of remakes and remasters, this one hits close to home for me. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 was one of my very first PlayStation games, and it was very formative for me. I got a lot of my musical taste from those games. I got a passion for skateboarding from Tony Hawk. These games meant a lot to me when I was a kid, and I love playing them even now as an adult. The remake was especially good because of tight controls. The graphics were great, but still reminiscent of the original, and lots of cool new added features. All adds up to a great remake, and it definitely warrants the price tag of a modern game. Number 4, Spider-Man Miles Morales. So, does this one count as a remake? Maybe a expansion? Either way, I had a ton of fun playing Spider-Man Miles Morales. We played this one on stream at Jord Anderson TV. There was a nice map update, great additions to the soundtrack, new powers to use, a great new storyline revolving around Miles Morales and him trying to find his voice as his own unique Spider-Man. Saw some complaints online saying that this game wasn't long enough, but for someone like me that played Spider-Man PS4 and the DLC and was still looking for more after the fact, this was just what the doctor ordered. I loved more Spider-Man. I am looking forward to even more Spider-Man when the numbered sequel releases sometime in the future. Number 3, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Another remake on the list. And another very formative game for me as a young man. Not only for me, I feel like the entire industry looks at this as a formative moment in gaming. I'm glad that this one is remastered for a whole new generation, although I feel like a lot of people that played it were 30 years old like me. The sound and graphics, of course, are greatly advanced from the original PlayStation version, and this looks more like Advent Children than it does Final Fantasy VII, the original, and that's not a bad thing. It also, the battle system reminds me of Advent Children, which again is not a bad thing. I don't think they could have went back to turn-based at this point. The new characters and storylines and plot points that they added all feel natural to the world that they inhabit, and which is a huge feat. And admittedly, I was put off a bit by the ending of the game because I think I was expecting a one-to-one remake of the original, and when that's not what we got, when they decided to veer off at the end, I felt put off. But after having slept on it, having thought about it for a few months, I think that I'm now more excited to see where the game is going to go in the future. Number 2, the first original IP on the list, Ghost of Tsushima. This game took me by surprise this year. That's no one's fault but mine. I have always been a fan of Sucker Punch games. I don't know why I was sleeping on this one. I think that this and Sekiro got mixed up in my mind because of the samurai aesthetic. And again, no one's fault but my own. But this is the Assassin's Creed game that I always wanted, where they ditch the modern storyline and concentrate on the historic aspect. And they nailed it with this game. You feel like a samurai when you're cutting guys down and fighting for the honor of your clan. The gameplay and combat is super engaging. Some of the mission types were a little boring, like A to B follow quests, or go here, kill this group of enemies, go over here, kill that group of enemies, and rinse and repeat. But the game was short enough and the narrative was good enough that it kept me wanting to move forward. Out of all of the games here, this one had me closest to tears this year, so that's got to count for something. I didn't expect that out of this game at all. I would also be remiss if I didn't mention the Legends multiplayer mode that was released as a free add-on a month or two after the game came out. A huge PvE multiplayer mode that has been a ton of fun. I'm still playing it to this day, trying to level up all my characters. Yeah, it can be a lot of fun to play Ghost of Tsushima online. Who would have known? And number one, as a surprise to absolutely nobody, is Hades, my favorite game of the year. I waited way too long to play this game. I admittedly hadn't heard of it until we were watching the Game Awards this year, and over and over and over, the word Hades kept coming up in almost every category. And I was thinking to myself, what the hell is this game? It looks like an indie game, and it's getting nominated for Game of the Year. So I went to Steam, I picked myself up a copy, and I never looked back. I love Hades. It's like Diablo and God of War had a baby, and Rogue Legacy was its godparent. I love games with great art, cool stories, cool lore. I'm a dork for Greek mythology. All these things drew me in to Hades. I loved playing this game. I loved that it showed you how to play instead of telling. That goes a long way with me, where it's not forcing dialogue boxes and tutorials down your throat. It's letting you experience the game for what it is and make your own decisions and learn naturally by playing the game and getting the systems down. You die a lot in Hades, a lot. But the deaths feel earned. You earn every death that you get through your own actions. But that's rewarding too, because then you take those lessons that you learned in your previous playthrough and move them on to your next attempt at escape. And that just feels good. They throw things at you and have you adapt or die. And if you die, you just start back from the first and try again. Hopefully, having learned something from the previous playthrough to carry you through the next one. It would have been a crime to not play Hades this year, and I really enjoyed my time with the game. I will probably be playing it more. So yeah, that's the top 5 list, with Hades coming in at number 1, my favorite games of the year. I plan on playing some of the games I missed out on in 2020, including The Last of Us and Doom Eternal. They'll have to get added to the list with the laundry list of games I have from 2021 that I want to play, so that we can have a more comprehensive best of 2021 list next year instead of this hodgepodge. If you've made it this far, thank you for sticking it out. Please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and tell me what games you had the most fun with in 2020. I guess that's it. Peace.